Today, I use ChatGPT to generate API test cases. Here's what we're going to do today. First, I'll explain how ChatGPT fits into your QA workflow and why it's so valuable. Then we're going to do a live example. I'm going to take a public API, ask AI to generate test cases for it, and show you exactly how to prompt it to get high-quality testable results. And finally, I'll share tips on how to validate those test cases and organize them so they're actually useful in Postman or whatever tool you'll use. Let's get started. So why use ChatGPT or any AI system at all for test cases? There are three main reasons. First is speed. Writing comprehensive test cases takes time. You have to think through happy paths, edge cases, error conditions, authentication, rate limits, and more. ChatGPT can generate a rough draft of all of that in seconds. You're just accelerating how you do your work. Second is coverage. When you're under time pressure, it's easy to miss edge cases. ChatGPT has patterns baked in from thousands of test suites. It naturally thinks about null values, boundary conditions, invalid data types, and permission errors. It won't catch everything, but it catches more than you might on a first pass. And the third reason is consistency. If you're managing a suite of APIs or working on a team, consistency matters. A good prompt to ChatGPT produces consistent test structure, naming conventions, and organization. This makes your test easier to read, easier to maintain, and easier to share. Let's talk about what ChatGPT is not. It's not a replacement for understanding the API. You still need to read the documentation. You still need to understand the business logic, but ChatGPT will generate test cases based on what you tell it. So if you don't tell it enough information, or you tell it the wrong information, it's going to give you garbage. Second, it's not replacing any of your critical thinking skills. ChatGPT will happily generate test cases that don't make sense for your specific use case. You always need to review, filter, and adjust. Think of working with AI as collaboration and not automation. And third, ChatGPT can hallucinate. It might generate test cases for endpoints that don't exist, or it might invent response fields that aren't real. You have to validate the generated test cases against the actual API before you use them. Here's the workflow I follow. You start with the API documentation, you read it, you understand what the API does, what endpoints exist, what parameters they accept, and what responses they return. Then you start writing a prompt. You describe the API, the endpoints, and what kind of test cases you want. ChatGPT generates those test cases. Then you take those test cases into Postman, or your testing tool, and you validate them against the real API. Some will pass immediately, some will fail because they're inaccurate. You need to check both and fix anything that's wrong. You'll end up with a suite of test cases that's actually tied to your API. This whole process from start to finish usually takes 20 to 30 minutes for a small API. Here's a quick comparison. Manual testing takes longer, but starts with high accuracy. ChatGPT is fast, but requires validation. The main goal here is to use both. ChatGPT will get you 80% of the way there, and you handle the remaining 20% with your domain knowledge and testing. Let's do a live example. I'm going to use the Poke API. It's a free public API that has multiple endpoints with different methods and parameters. And it's honestly just fun to work, because who doesn't like Pokemon? Here's what I'm looking at. The Poke API has endpoints for getting Pokemon, data, berries, items, abilities, and more. The endpoint I'm going to focus on right now is /Pokemon/ID. This endpoint accepts a numeric ID, and it returns detailed information about that Pokemon. It also supports filtering with query parameters. So this endpoint returns this Pokemon's ID, name, base experience, height, weight, sprites, abilities, and move list. A successful response should give us 200. If the Pokemon doesn't exist, you get a 404. If you hit the API too many times, you should get a rate limit with a code of 429. This API endpoint also takes a name. Doing a request for ID or name will give you the same results. Let's take a look at my prompt. The prompt needs to be specific, and I'm telling ChatGPT what the API is, what the endpoint does, what parameters it accepts, and what kind of test cases I want. So let's go through this. I'm testing the Poke API endpoint get /Pokemon ID or name. Endpoint details, I've given the base URL, the path, the method, parameters, telling it that ID or name is required, and giving additional context so it can be a Pokemon ID 123 or name like Pikachu or Charizard. I'm giving it response criteria, so HTTP 200 with JSON object containing ID, name, height, weight, abilities, and moves. I'm also giving it error response details, so 404 if Pokemon not found, 429 if rate limited. After that, I'm giving it instructions on how I want my test cases, so generate 12 to 15 test cases that cover happy path, edge cases, error cases, response validation, and performance. Finally, I'm giving it format how I want my test cases. So I want test case name, request with the full URL, expected response code, assertions, and categories. Let's run this and see what ChatGPT generates. Let's take a look at what ChatGPT gave me. So it looks like it gave us 15 total test cases. And if we take a look at the responses, we get our test case name, request URL, expected response code, our assertions, and the category. So this is a good starting point, but here's the important part. I'm not going to assume that all of these test cases are perfect. I need to actually validate this inside of Postman. Let's go through these test cases. So let's do the first one here, get Pokemon by valid numeric ID. It's going to be a GET request. So I have a GET request set up. Let me grab this URL here, paste this in here, and I'll go ahead and send this. Let's go through the rest of this. So expected response code is 200, so I can see that's 200. And assertions is response body is valid JSON. This does look like a valid JSON body. I should have an ID in here somewhere. That's a number. Let me search in here because this body is really long. I'm going to search for ID just like that, and ID of 25. So that's a number. The next test is ID equals 25, and that's correct. After that, name exists and is a string. So let's look for name. And there's quite a few things called name. And here we go. I was able to find it. This Pokemon is Pikachu. The next one is there's a height and a weight, and both of those should be numbers. So height is here with 4. Let me see if I can find weight. Weight is here and it's 60. Next, we're looking for abilities. It should be an array. The abilities is here and it's an array. After that, we're looking for moves. The moves is here. This is also an array. And it says name is not empty. We already confirmed that because we had name above. So this one is redundant. So I would actually just delete that. But it looks like all of these validations are correct. Obviously, it's not testing every single property and field in here, but it's doing a good smoke test to make sure that this endpoint is working and pulling back the correct Pokemon that you're looking for. Let's scroll down and find another test case. And I'm going to do this one right here, number 8, that says get Pokemon using non-existent numeric ID. This is a negative case. Let's go ahead and copy this URL here, paste that in and send it. And we got a 404 not found, and our message in the body is not found. So let's look at our test. It says expected result code 404. That one passed. In the assertions section, it says response indicates Pokemon not found. That's correct. No valid Pokemon object is returned. There's no object returned with any Pokemon information. That's correct. API returns client error, not server error. Okay. 404 is a client error, so that's correct. And response format is consistent with other not found scenarios. So if I change the URL from this long string of 9s here and add another 9 here, and I send that, it's still going to be a 404. I think some of these assertions are redundant. So like API returns client error, not server error, I would delete this one because that's already covered in 404. Because like I said, 404 is a client error. And then response format is consistent with other not found scenarios. I'm pretty sure that all of the 404s are going to look the same because that's just how code works. So I would delete that one. So I think I would just leave it as these two. So response indicates Pokemon not found and no valid Pokemon object is returned. I'm going to leave the second one in here because we could get a situation where it gives us an object that says error not found and then returns Pokemon information afterwards. So I think that's okay as is. So the test from here to here is perfectly fine. And so it gives us another request here down on 14 that says validate required fields are populated for success response. Let's go ahead and try this one out and send this. And there we go. We get a 200 OK once again. So status code passes, assertions, ID, name, height, weight, abilities, and moves are present. Let's go look for this. So ID is there. Name is there somewhere. And there we go. So name is there. Let's do height. Height is there. Weight is there. Abilities is there. And moves is there. So all of those fields are there. Name was not blank. That's correct. Height, weight were greater than 0. That's also correct. Abilities.length was greater than 0. That's also correct. Moves.length is greater than 0. So that's also correct. So these are all working here. Let's try this other variation of this. So we have one here where it has mixed casing. So Pikachu has a capital P and lowercase everything else. Let's go ahead and run this. Okay, so that's still passed. So we know that the case where it's all lowercase passed. We know the case where Pikachu with a capital P is passing. Let me change this to all caps here and just send this once more. And that's all passing too. So just kind of think of it this way. It's like Pikachu with a capital P is basically the same as Pikachu with all caps, because if the system is looking for case sensitivity, it's going to be matching on the entire string. So if the first letter in the database is a lowercase and the first letter that you're passing is an uppercase, then it doesn't matter what the rest of the string is. It's going to fail on the first character. So the way that they wrote the test is actually good. Okay, so I think these test cases probably look okay. You'd want to spend time and go through each one and maybe copy this out into a Google Doc and make your modifications. And then I would feed it back into the AI and tell it to generate a Postman collection. That way you don't have to go into Postman and generate all of these tests manually. I'm going to prompt ChatGPT to generate the Postman collection for me. Let's take a look at my prompt. So convert the manual API test cases into a valid Postman collection JSON file. The instructions are for each test case, generate a Postman request item that includes number 1, request setup, name, method, headers, request body, and any path or query parameters. Generate pre-request scripts if needed to set dynamic variables, things like timestamps or random IDs, and to retrieve tokens or values from environment variables. Next, I wanted to generate test scripts. The assertions should include status code, response time, response body fields, response schema, and error messages. After that, it needs to set up environment variables So use base URL and auth token and any other variables instead of hard coding values. And if there's a response body that needs to be reused, save it. The output format, I want return only valid Postman collection without any explanation text. The collection should have a descriptive name, group related requests into folders by feature or module, be importable directly into Postman. I'm going to go ahead and send this and let ChatGPT do the work. If anybody wants this prompt, leave a comment and I'll send it to you. Okay, it looks like it's done and it gave me a long string of JSON here. I'm just going to go ahead and copy this, jump into your text editor of choice and just paste that in. And I'm going to save that as pokeapi.json. Let's go into Postman and I don't need this request anymore. I'm just going to remove this. And in collections, I'm going to click this, click import, and I'm going to just drag and drop my collection here. And there we go. So you can see that they've created a collection. So it's called pokeapi get Pokemon /ID or name test collection. We have folders for happy path, edge cases, error cases, response validation, and performance. And let's take a look at what test cases we have here. So we have 3 under happy path, we have 4 under edge cases, we have more under error cases, we have response validation, and we have performance. So it looks like we have all the test cases. It looks like we might actually have one more than we originally had. But looking back at my test, it looks like it created this rate limit handling smoke test in my JSON file that wasn't in my original list that it created. So sometimes things like that happen. You're going to want to validate all of the test cases regardless, especially anything that gets injected in here without you specifically asking for it. Let's open up one of these test cases. I'm just going to do the first one, get Pokemon by valid numeric ID. You can see that it's set up as a GET request. It has a base URL set up here. If you hover over that, you can see that the base URL has been set up. So it's going to pokeapi.co. The path is /Pokemon/25. Let's go into the scripts. In the pre-request section, you can see that it's added a few lines here. The first one here is just getting the date. The second one here looks like it's getting the token. And the post response is going to be where our actual test is. So it's doing an assertion for 200. It's doing an assertion for the response time. And then it's doing validation on the response body. So it should be an object. It should have all of these properties. And the values for the properties should have the correct types. If you click over to headers, you can see that there's default header data. So most of this probably just came from Postman by itself. The ones down here, I think, are the ones that are coming from our collections. Probably the ones that are like accept application JSON and content type application JSON. Also, the authorization here came from our collection with the bearer of an auth token. The Poke API doesn't need the auth token, so it's unchecked right now. They've set it up so that if it does change and you do need an auth token, you can just toggle it back on and you should be good to go. Let's go ahead and send this request and see what happens. And you can see we got an error here. It says error invalid protocol. Looking at the base URL, it looks like they've wrapped our base URL in square brackets. So let's go over there and fix that. We don't need all of this extra stuff. So we don't need this part back here and we don't need these square brackets here. So now it's a valid URL. The good thing is that since they made it a collection variable, we only have to change it here and it should apply to all of our tests. Let's hover over this again and now you can see the correct base URL. Let's try to send it again. Now we're getting a 200 and our response body is there. Let's look at the test results. Our test results are all coming back correct. Status code, response time, and property validations are all good to go. You can see that ChatGPT one-shot creating these tests for Postman and it only had a small error. I haven't gone through the rest of the tests, but so far the first one looks like it's working perfectly. Let's try one of the error scenarios. And this is the one that we did before, the 99999 Pokemon that doesn't exist. Let's look at the script. So in the post response, you can see it's 404, and then it has some validation for the error. Let's go ahead and send this. You can see we got a 404 not found, and our test result says everything passed. So you've seen the process, but how do you make sure your prompts are good? Here are the techniques I use. First, be specific about the endpoint. Don't just say, generate test cases for my API. Say which endpoint, what method it uses, what parameters are accepted, and what a successful response looks like. The more detail you give ChatGPT up front, the better the output is going to be. Second, tell ChatGPT what categories of tests you want. Do you want happy paths, error cases, edge cases, performance tests, or security tests? ChatGPT will try to cover everything if you ask, but it works better with specific directions. And third, specify the format you want. If you say format each test case as a JSON object with included fields of name, method, URL, expected status, and assertions, ChatGPT will stick to that format. If you don't give clear format instructions, it's going to give you something that might not be in the structure that you want. And the fourth thing is include examples if you have them. If you say, here's what a good test case looks like, ChatGPT will try to imitate that style for the rest of its output. So sometimes ChatGPT will generate test cases that don't match the actual API. Maybe it hallucinates an endpoint that doesn't exist, or it predicts the status code incorrectly. So what do? This is where you come in. Go back to ChatGPT and say, I tested your test case for endpoint X and it returned a different status code. Here's what actually happened. Can you fix the test case 3, 5, and 7 based on this feedback? ChatGPT is good at iterating once you give it real data. Or you might say, forget the previous output. Here's the actual API documentation. Generate test cases based on this instead. The key is to treat ChatGPT as a partner so that you can accelerate your work, but you still need to be the expert to oversee everything. If you found this useful, hit that like button and subscribe. I'll be adding more videos every week. Thanks for watching.